Hello, this is Miss Evelyn with VT 1011, and this is the first week of the course with an overview of the veterinary profession and veterinary career paths. So I am a registered veterinary technician. I have been in that position and title for well over 35 years. I love this as a profession, and I am going to take you on a journey into an introduction of the veterinary profession and veterinary technology profession. So a little bit of just history behind this. I'm not going to read all the slides word for word. You could take that, but I'm going to try to fill in some of the areas around it. But humans have always taken care of animals. That has been part of it. When it first started as a hunting partner, maybe the canine field or so forth. And then, of course, as nursing fields and care fields grew. A little bit of history would be that in 1908, Canine Nurses Institute in England offered the very first kind of formal training for veterinary assistants. And then the U.S. Air Force began its animal technician program. And we also have some other, the Alameda Contra Costa Veterinary Medical Assistance Association was established. Along in the same time area was the American Association of Laboratory Animal Science. You should know the abbreviation AALS. It's pronounced ALAS. AALAS, American Association of Laboratory Animal Sciences. So when you see items in bold or italics in the PowerPoint or the PDF file, you should make special note of that. And there's three different levels as an ALAS. One is an ALAT, Assistant Laboratory Animal Technician, an LAT, a Laboratory Animal Technician, and with more training, a Laboratory Animal Technologist, LATG. Definitely know ALAS, and that there's three levels. These are basically individuals who work in more so research kind of facilities or work. In about 1961, we had our first animal technician program in SUNY, S-U-N-Y, up in State University of New York. And the father of veterinary technology is considered to be Dr. Walter Collins, a DVN, and he actually developed the model curricula for training veterinary technicians in 1965. You do need to remember his name, Dr. Walter Collins, father of veterinary technology, and we still hold him very much in awe for having started our profession. You can see a few other dates in here. I actually had the privilege of attending one of the first veterinary technology programs. It was called, at that time, Animal Health Technology or Animal Health Technicians, and I actually graduated in 1975 from that. It wasn't the first program accredited, but it was one of the early ones up in Tacoma, Washington. You can see some of the other dates in here, though. A key date is 1981 for the National Association of Veterinary Technicians in America. Again, you're going to be introduced to many different acronyms in this course, and this is one that you do need to know. NAVTA is how we pronounce it, N-A-V-T-A, the National Association of Veterinary Technicians in America. And as I mentioned, the programs before 2004 or in that area in the mid-70s were called animal health technology programs. The term changed over to veterinary technology later on through the 1980s and 90s. And Indeed, in 2004, C&M established the first veterinary technician program in New Mexico, and that was established in 2004. So we have two programs here at C&M. One is the Veterinary Receptionist Certificate. It has 4 courses, and you explore a basic terminology, not medical terminology, but basically animal science terminology. Terms used in the profession, but more so maybe in a receptionist area, feed store, pet store kind of venue, and a little bit more to the layman's side of terms. And then we build vocabulary and also skills that will serve you in that receptionist customer care area. So the Veterinary Receptionist Certificate. There are some, of course, always ongoing shifts. Currently, it is the college writing and a computer class, but the computer class as of the fall of 2020 is going to be changed to psychology, to understand the people that you deal with. Psychology 1101. And then there's the 2 veterinary technology courses, primary, the receptionist basic skills, and this course that you are in, Introduction to the Veterinary Profession. So 12 credits, and you can receive your Certificate of Achievement in Veterinary Receptionist. Veterinary technology is, of course, the main program that was started here, and we built the receptionist program to help support that. And graduates from our technology program, it is 5 terms long. It is an AVMA, which is American Veterinary Medical Association. Make sure you have veterinary medical. American Veterinary Medical Association. It is, we work alongside with the New Mexico Board of Veterinary Medicine, and it is under that board that you can become then licensed or registered as a registered veterinary technician, which is what I am. And now only graduates from an AVMA accredited program, which C&M is, only graduates from that type of a program can apply to become a registered veterinary technician. The other abbreviation toward the bottom here, there's 2 more on this slide, but I'll go to the bottom one, which is CVTEA. That is the Committee on Veterinary Technician Education and Activities. The CVTEA. So all of these entities work along together to form the education path possible to licensure to serve as a professional registered veterinary technician. And that gateway to be able to take the test for licensure is the Veterinary Technician National Examination in the middle paragraph here, called the VTNE. And you will hear that mentioned many times during even this course and the program. We do track our pass rate. We are around a 70% passing right now in 2020. It is a rigorous program. You can find requirements for the program out on the current link to C&M. And there are the introduction to the veterinary profession is now a prerequisite to applying to the program. And we also have the VT1005, Veterinary Receptionist Basic Skills, that of course works for the certificate and is an elective in the program. And again, I mentioned that the new course in place of the computer course is psychology for the receptionist, which is also required in the program for the full associate degrees. So when we talk about veterinary technology programs, there are about someplace around 160, maybe there's probably even more than that, closer to 200 now, although we were the first, C&M was the first veterinary technology program accredited by the AVMA here in New Mexico. We also still have San Juan Community College, which serves students worldwide because they're a fully distance learning program. Now, there's a lot of caveat to that. You have to have a very good working relationship to be able to do your skills at a animal hospital facility, to learn that kind of training while you're taking your coursework, and their videos are observed of you, etc., etc. And then also Navajo Technical University on the Navajo Nation in Crown Point, where it was initially accredited in March 2017 with their veterinary technology program. They're really serving, does not have to be just for the Navajo Nation, but for our Native Americans. They do serve that area. And I just used the word serve. Veterinary medicine is a service industry. That is the first and foremost part that you need to remember. We serve the clients, we serve the patients, we serve our coworkers, we serve the associations that we're in, we serve a lot of people. So there's many different hats in this field, and everybody plays a vital role. In your veterinary assistant handbook, textbook, which is published by Wiley Blackwell, this is the textbook for the veterinary assistant by Kara Burns and Lori Renda Francis. That is your reference point for the professionalism side of this course. And there is this definition that the veterinary profession is enhanced through efficient utilization of each member of the veterinary healthcare team by appropriate delegation of tasks and responsibilities to support the whole staff. And I would go on to say to support the care to your clients and patients. It is a profession, and it is a service industry. So when we talk about veterinary medicine, okay, there are a variety of individuals, and some of you may already be on your pathway with your eyeball to one of these, but there are many different healthcare team members that may be around any given veterinary facility or area of veterinary care. We have, of course, receptionists, office managers that may or may not have much background training actually in the veterinary field. They may be very good managers or business BA kind of degrees, business degrees. You have your veterinarian or your DVM. Make sure you always spell that word correctly, and the abbreviation on veterinarian would be DVM for Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. And veterinary technicians or technologists that may also have a specialty, and veterinary assistants, kennel assistants, and groomers, and so forth. Let's break some of these down. So we'll look at a veterinary receptionist. This is the individual, and this course again can be used for that veterinary receptionist certificate at CNM. They are the face and the voice and the first person that greets that person who's coming into your facility. They have to have really exceptional people skills, be customer service minded, be able to multitask, handle money or deal with invoices and make sure that computer entry is correct, acknowledge that client when they walk in. Multitasking, answer phones, make appointments, maintain all kinds of medical records, and tie up all the loose ends. You are the rest of the staff's right hand. You are the person that keeps everybody on track, helping set appropriate schedules of appointments and so forth. And that receptionist is key for that client's perception of the practice. You may have an office manager. Now, this person may have be a degreed veterinarian or a degreed veterinary technician, or they may just be a very good manager. Some office managers are related to an owner of the practice. They may be an individual that has great business administration background, more so than the medical side. So they manage our front office staff. They may manage to some degrees the professional staff, medical staff also. They might supervise the running of the practice, deal with inspections, deal with all the banking needs, and so forth. And of course, some of these skills may fall over to the veterinary receptionist also, but you may have that office manager. We come to the veterinarian. They are responsible for the management of the animal health, the whole management. This is why we have veterinary medicine. They have the personnel that have completed their undergraduate degrees, and most veterinarians will have a minimum of 8 years of college, and many will have 12 to 16, because it is still a very competitive market to get into veterinary medicine, and they may get a master's degree or two on their way to being that doctor of veterinary medicine. And there is one school, I believe it's one school in the United States, that gives a VMD, veterinary medical doctor degree. So if you see either DVM or VMD. And at this point, I'm going to go on my little high horse for just a second, that in anything that you put down in print during this course, and train your mouth to not say vet, V-E-T. A vet, to me, is somebody that has honorably served our nation as a veteran from one of the armed forces. It is not vet medicine. It is not the vet will be with you soon. And really, it is not I am a vet tech. I am a registered veterinary technician. I love working for the veterinarian and serving him as we do veterinary medicine, him or her, and acknowledge their degree by saying the doctor will be with you soon. Even if that client calls him by first name, you will be trained to say the doctor or the veterinarian will be with you soon or with you shortly. I will ask the veterinarian that question. You do not ask the vet, and try to find somebody that served our armed forces. So on that veterinarian again, there are basically 4 tasks that the veterinarian only can do. Now, it doesn't mean that one of the other staff members may not have an idea, but technically it is the veterinarian that does the diagnosing of the patient. What is the problem? Diagnosis. They give the prognosis. We can repair this fractured leg, and in 3 months the dog should be healed. That's the prognosis. It is the veterinarian that performs the surgery and also prescribes the medication. In New Mexico, definitely the veterinarian is the only one that does the diagnosing, performs surgery, and prescription. The prognosing can vary from state law to state law, but do remember these 4. These are typically veterinarian-only tasks. Diagnosis, diagnose something, give a prognosis, perform the surgery, and prescribe medication. The veterinary technician or technologist, so there is a difference of the years in schooling and the degree that you have received. So here at C&M, we have a veterinary technician program, the veterinary technology program. 2 years, or basically it takes most people 3 years of college with the prerequisites. It is accredited by that CVTEA, Committee on Veterinary Technician Education and Activities, which is a subcommittee of the AVMA, American Veterinary Medical Association. And a technician then can pass the VTNE and other state examinations and receive their licensure or certification. A 2-year veterinary technology program. A technologist is one that graduates from a 4-year program with a bachelor's degree, more in-depth responsibilities. They may have actually taken a track of a little bit more education down surgical care, not necessarily specialist in it, but their track may take them one way or another in those other 2 years of schooling and as they get their bachelor's degree. There are a few programs in the United States that do offer the technologist level then of training, but you need to have that technician degree first. Once you are in that veterinary technician as a registered veterinary technician or technologist, you may want to pursue one of the NAVTA 12 academies, as we call it, specialists. These take usually about 2 years of work. Once you are in a practice doing case studies, presenting things, doing tests, maybe going before a committee face-to-face or online, answering questions. It's a very rigorous but also very rewarding pathway to go to pursue a specialty. And there's 12 of those. We have one in anesthesia and analgesia, so doing the anesthetist and pain management for animals. We have behavior technicians, clinical pathology, that's dealing with hematology, parasitology, microbiology, all those ologies in the clinical area. We have just in clinical practice, we have dental technicians, dermatology. You can have emergency and critical care. You could have a specialist in equine veterinary medicine or veterinary nursing, internal medicine, and you can actually sub-specialize within that. Nutrition technicians, surgical technicians, and zoological medicine. So these 12 are actually academies that are, their needs are put into place by NAVTA, and they all have their own requirements, but that would be something that you might want to focus on and set as a guide or goal for you in the next part of your training. So again, veterinary technician or technologist, what are some of our responsibilities? Well, in clinical care, of course, anything that's our kind of nursing, or as we call it also therapeutic cares, we provide support in radiology, in doing dentistries, in surgical care. Now, we do not perform the surgery. We may assist the veterinarian, but a lot of time in the surgery area is the pre and post surgical care. It is monitoring the anesthesia and the patient and assisting the veterinarian for supplies during the procedure. Pharmacy, dispensing of medication, preparing the prescriptions that the doctor has prescribed, laboratory work, biosecurity work, medical treatment, and patient care. Other non-clinical areas might be dealing with the inventory, hospital kennel care, client education, customer care. So this is one of the reasons it does take 2 years to get through the full veterinary technology program, or actually 5 terms at CNM. It is a lot of information in a relatively short period of time, where a lot of the other CNM health wellness programs may have 2 years for just in dental assisting, or in the medical laboratory technician work, or the radiology technician work. And we have 5 terms to cover all of these different areas, which also makes it the very exciting part of the profession. And you need to have critical thinking skills, be a person of high ethics, great time management, terminology, animal management, nutrition, behavior, and that's just a little bit. Veterinary assistants may be non-credentialed. They may have some level of certification. They may have some formal education, or they're trained on the job. And quite often their supervision is by a veterinary technician or the veterinarian. And they might perform a variety of the tasks, but certainly not with the same level of the training and knowledge and critical thinking skills as a graduate from a veterinary technician program. PIMA actually has a veterinary assistant program here. And there are other programs available, some with better certification and others maybe in an online environment. Support staff, kennel assistants, groomers might be there. You might be formally trained or trained on the job. So these are areas that in pet store work, boarding kennels, rescue groups, all of these individuals, you could take your education and move into those areas. Our last part here of this exploration of the career paths and job settings for the professionalism. We look at the hospital as being 11 main areas. Now, some of these kind of flex depending upon the time of the day, but consider looking at a veterinary office in these 11 areas. And you can read the smaller print, but we have the reception area where people check in and check out. You might have separate entrances. Exam rooms, outpatient care. This would be also, maybe some of this is done at the reception desk, but then also the exam rooms where vital signs are taken and the initial assessment of your patient. And maybe simple procedures. The vaccines might be given. It just depends on how the office is managed. Then you come in a little bit further back to your laboratory area, your centrifuge, your microscope, any in-house lab work or preparation for sending it to an out lab, and then pharmacy for also taking care of any necessary medications as the veterinarian prescribes those. Going usually a little further back would be your radiology or imaging area, treatment room, procedure area. They call it sometimes the medicine pit. Usually the owners aren't back there very often, and it is more the patients with the staff of the hospital. Surgical suites with your anesthesia machine and maintenance of sterility. Hospital wards, ICU might be there, critical care. You may have a special cat room or exotic room. You may have an area that is designated as the euthanasia room. A lot of times that is also flex, but in a lot of hospitals, they kind of have that special room for the bereavement care. Boarding kennels might be there, laundry and offices and lounge. Yes, once in a while, you may be able to get off your feet. Well, I hope that this has been an interesting journey as an introduction into the profession of veterinary technology in veterinary technician program. Enjoy exploring some of the career pathways that may be laying before you and understand these 11 areas of your clinical hospital area. Thank you very much for enjoying this time.